Hello and welcome to the Stitch Together podcast. It's Friday, the 15th of May 2015. This is episode 15 and my name is Chrissy and I'm your host. It's lovely to be sat talking to you again today. It's been a little longer than I would have liked. You may remember when I spoke to you last time, I just got my laptop all up and running again. Unfortunately, the week after, no, about 10 days after, I got infected with some really nasty malware. And it was just quicker to start again. So I've had to do a full reinstall of my computer twice in the last month. So as a result, I bought a hard drive, backup hard drive thing with my birthday money. That was going to go on Yarn, but you know, never mind. It's more important to have all my data. So that took a bit of time. And after my brother and his wife and my niece and nephew came to visit for the weekend, it took me a little while to get over that. It was well worth every ache and twinge, but it was a great weekend and we all enjoyed it an awful lot. After that weekend, I came down with a stinking cold, which I still have, which is very annoying. But it's a lot better than it was, or I wouldn't even be attempting to talk to you today. But you'll have to excuse me if I sound a little bit croaky and I reached my drink a little bit. Hopefully I won't have to do too much of that. I just thought I'd explain that I'm just a little bit, voice is a bit off today. Just want to say thank you very much to everyone who reached out to me on my birthday with lots of nice wishes and stuff. So thank you very much for that. It sort of made me feel quite special because my birthday being a day when my other half was at work was kind of like rattling around the house all day on my own, but I kept getting lots of nice wishes from people and that was really lovely. I really enjoyed that. It made the birthday a little bit more special. So thank you for that. I think really it's kind of it. Not really done very much apart from feel a bit rubbish and fix my computer. So yeah, oh no, have got news. I went to see my consultant this week actually, and as a result I've been put on the waiting list for surgery. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that won't take too long. I've got a pre-assessment appointment on the 3rd of June, which is so much worse than the surgery in some respects, because you spend like 2 to 4 hours rattling around in a waiting room. At least when you're having surgery, they give you a bed so you can lie down. You have to sit. For me, the worst thing I can do is sit upright for any length of time. So I'm not looking forward to that, but it gets me that next step closer to having the surgery. So hopefully by the end of the summer, I might be a little bit better, enough to sort of think about going out and about, maybe going on a little holiday sometime at the end of the summer. That'd be nice. I think we'll probably just go UK again. It just works so much more easily for us having a car with us and being able to take scooter and wheelchair and all the rest of the stuff that I need to take with me when we go anywhere. And before that, we're having quite a lot of work done on the house. In fact, the scaffolding went up this week as well. We've been waiting for this work to be done for about 3 years. We've tried to get quote after quote after quote and stuff just hasn't come through. So it's, we'll believe the work starts when the workmen arrive with the vans. It's kind of that situation. We just don't allow ourselves to think that the work's going to get done. But yeah, I don't know how that's going to affect the podcasting schedule because I don't think I'll be able to record when we're having bangings and crashings going on. I don't know how long it's going to take. It's going to take a few weeks at least. So I'll let you know what's going to happen sort of a bit close to the time, because I think the work starts next week. Yeah, next Monday it starts. Ooh. I do not enjoy having work done on the house. It's because I can't get away from it. You know, most people, they go to work when they're having work done on the house. I can't. I've got to be in the house and I'm kind of shoved from pillar to post. I can't really settle anywhere because they've got to be in this room or they've got to be in that room and they need me to get out of the way. And hopefully it's not going to be anywhere near as bad as it was when we had the house rewired. That was not fun. It really was no fun at all. But yeah, it's going to be good to get the work done. It needed doing. So Fingers crossed it won't be too disruptive, especially to the podcasting. So I think we shall crack on with stuff and things. And I've only got one thing in there, and that's this lovely, lovely yarn from Lenitium X Machina. And that's an Etsy store, and it's in Europe, which is nice for us EU citizens. I think it's in Finland. And this skein is basic sock in the Urban Sprawl colourway, and we had a lot of entries for this one, probably more than we've had for a long time. In fact, that's not fair. I've not done a lot of straight giveaways for a long time. But funnily enough, I did the random.org draw, random number generator, and the person who entered last, number 55, which is Silwen, Nadia, you've won skein of sock yarn, and it's very nice sock yarn, I have to say. I think you'll enjoy working with that. And it's nice to see that quite a lot of you on the competition thread said that you'd been tempted into buying some of the yarn yourselves. I'd love to know what you think of it, because there's quite a range of colours and bases, so it'd be nice to know what people think of the bases and colours that they get. But I think you'll be pleased with that, Nadia. So congratulations. Let me know. I might have your address. I can't remember. Just send me a PM. It's easier, isn't it? And that will go out to you. And also, thank you for the entries into the draw for the patterns. I know an awful lot of money was raised with the sales of those patterns, and it was quite nice to be able to sort of, for me to donate my money in that way, and it made me feel like I was giving something to you guys, and as well as helping other people. So thank you for joining in that draw. I know there wasn't very much time, very much notice on it, but those patterns have all gone out to the winners, and I posted in the giveaway thread who those winners were, so you can just double check in case you didn't know that had happened. So yeah, that's stuff and things. So moving on to done and dusted. I have in my sticky little mitts a finished incentive, and I could not be happier with this shawl. It is gorgeous. Excuse me. The pattern is incentive by Hannah. Nobody's told me any different. Masijushka. And the yarn is Knitting Goddess Merino Nylon DK in the walnut colourway. If I show you a little bit closer up. It's hard to get the colour right because I've had to turn up the brightness because it's a bit dingy today, and it's kind of blued things out a bit. I can't. That's not too far. It's a bit warmer than that colour. It's a bit sort of more yellowy. The colour's probably more accurate there, but you can see the shawl a bit better there. And I loved doing this textured stitch. Absolutely loved it. It was great fun. And one of the changes that I made to the pattern was these picots were supposed to be 5 stitches long, and I decided, because I started to do the pattern and I got a few things wrong, and I sort of ripped it out and started again. And one of the things that I changed was these picots. I changed them to a 3-stitch picot, and I think that's perfect for me. I like that, because when I block out, I thread the wires through the tips of the picots, and that just gives it a nice defined depth of the picot. I don't think it needs any more than that. The texture stitch was just great fun, because you sort of, it was a really fun shawl, and I worked on it pretty much exclusively while it was on the needles, because I just couldn't stop knitting it. It was just such fun. It's got lots of short row shaping. I don't know if you can see. Actually, you probably can actually. Yes, I think you can. I alternated the skeins, and I'm pretty glad I did, because you can see there's quite a difference in the colours. You can almost see the striping. And if I'd not, I'd have like a line right down the middle between the two colours, and I think this way it looks a lot better. It's a really interesting shape. It's really hard to show you actually. It goes really tall and then it sort of scoops up like this, and it means that you can. Let me take this off. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you in Stuff and Things, this is actually one of my own designs. It's the Refraction Shawlette, and it's knit in Posh Yarn Pamela. And I love this. It's one of my favourite shawls, which is why it's looking a little bit tatty. This incentive, essentially, got it on backwards. It's hard to tell because it's in garter stitch, so it's it looks okay both ways. No, I've just put it on. I knew it was wrong. Hang on, there we go. Right, so, oh, I don't know, doesn't really matter. Anyway, the shape is such that the scoop is over one side more than the other at the back. So what I've been doing is I've been putting the short end like that, and I've been pinning the longer end across the front like that. Because it's a DK weight, you don't really need to double it up that much to give you the extra warmth, and it just covers the shoulders nicely. I think it's going to be a very usable, wearable shawl, and I loved knitting it. Really, really loved it. I would quite happily knit another one because it was just great, great fun. Though I try not to knit too many things, the same thing twice, because I kind of get to the point where you're thinking, but I really want to play with another pattern, you know, because there's so many fantastic patterns out there. I find it hard to repeat certain patterns, even though I love doing them and I would happily repeat them till the cows come home. I want to get on with the next thing. So I highly recommend the pattern. It's a really interesting design, and the yarn is really interesting. I think it's 75% merino and 25% nylon. So it's like a sock yarn, but done on a DK scale. So I just know it's going to be incredibly hard wearing. It softened a bit on washing, and the more I use it, the more I wear it, the smoother and softer it feels. It's the same as with some of those harder wearing sock yarns. The first few times you wear them, they're a little bit crunchy, but once you wash them a couple of times, they're just so soft, and then they last forever. And that's the feeling I get from this. It's I think it'd be a very, very hard wearing garment, and I don't think it'll pill at all. Or if it does, it'll be minimal pilling. But yeah, really, really enjoyed that knit. Highly recommend it. The other thing that you've seen before is my long mitts. They're very long. They're made with British Blueface Leicester from the Yarn Yard. Now, I don't know if she's still on hiatus because she had some surgery on her foot and it meant she couldn't dye. So I don't know if she's still got the shop closed or not. But the link is in the show notes anyway. Now, I love these sort of gauntlet style mitts. Since I've started making them, I've worn them an awful lot, especially this time of year when it's transitioning from wearing sort of full-on jacket to wearing sort of just a wrap or a shawl or something. And it's very good. You can put a shawl around your shoulders and put the mitts on to keep your forearms warm. And then if it warms up a bit, you can sort of peel layers off. But this yarn is beautiful. It's so soft and smooth. I'm such a sucker for Blueface Leicester. I really am. In fact, one of the projects that I'm working on at the moment is Blueface Leicester, and it's just lovely stuff. It feels smooth, soft. It's got lovely drape, and it's very hard wearing. So you can't really ask for much more in a yarn, can you? So that's those two. The mitts took forever to finish. I'd got a whole one finished, and then I got up to here at the top of the last one, and it just sat there for ages waiting to be finished, just to finish this top little garter stitch bit and the thumb. I finished it in about an hour and a half. I mean, I don't know why I stalled on it. I really don't. Probably because I got distracted with some other pretty things. But that pattern is my own design. It's not going to be released because essentially it's like a vanilla sock pattern, but for my arms and hands. Essentially, it's designed to fit my arms and my hands. And if I was going to try and make it generic, it would take too long, and I don't think it'd work very well. But I think I'll probably make more of these because they're a really good way of using sock yarns that aren't maybe quite as robust as you'd like. Maybe, you know, like 100% merino type things. And it's also a way of really showing off pretty yarns. Whereas when you wear them on your feet, they're kind of hidden away. If you put them on your hands, they're sort of in plain view. So it's another use for all those dozens and dozens and dozens of sock yarns that I've got in my stash. Always trying to find different uses for those. Now, the other things I've got in Done and Dusted are all kind of connected. And if you follow me on Instagram, earlier in the week, you'll have seen a post showing 2 of these finished items and asking for testers to get in touch. And I have designed this cowl and it's currently getting tested. So hopefully, I think in mid-ish June, might be able to release the pattern. Hopefully, all things being equal. And the design started because Countess Ablaze was doing an Odyssey Trail knit along. She has a theme this year which is based around the Odyssey, and each month she releases different yarns and fibres that she's dyed around this theme. They're all one-of-a-kind colourways. They won't be released again. Nearly all of them are stunning. And the idea around this Odyssey knit along was anything sort of you knit out of Countess Ablaze yarn or fibre, and it has to be inspired by Greece. So I've been to Greece a couple of times, once as a child, and the second time was the very first foreign holiday I went on with my partner, which is quite some time ago now. And it was kind of the last holiday I went on before I got really sick. I wasn't well, but I wasn't really sick. I mean, I was still walking around and I wasn't using a walking stick at that point. So it was kind of before I got sick, and it was a great holiday and we had the most amazing time and it was beautiful. And one of the best days we had on that holiday was the boat trip. Basically, we went on a day cruise around the islands and we visited lots of little coves and inlets and different parts of different islands. And it was fantastic and it was a beautiful day. We went in October and they said it was the hottest October they'd had in like 15 years. It was in the 30s. I mean, we just hadn't expected it to be that warm. We thought it was going to be low 20s. Very pleasant for October, but we didn't expect it to be like, I need to wear a swimming costume and a sarong all week. You know, we're expecting that. And this cruise was lovely because it was out on the sea, and there was a sort of nice little breeze, and we were sort of on beaches and coves. We went swimming in one of these little coves, just sort of jumped off the boat and went swimming in this incredible clear blue water and the white sand and the white cliffs, and that's what gives it that amazing blue glow you see in photos of the Mediterranean. And it was just a fantastic day, and that's, for me, sums up Greece. It's the boat trip. It's being on the water, seeing the island from the sea, and the way the waves sort of lap against the boat and sort of just gently brush up against the white cliffs, and that for me is Greece. So the idea I had was I wanted to make a cowl. Now, recently there've been sort of quite a few cowls that have been designed, so they look like shawlettes, but they're actually cowls. And I like that idea. I like the ones I've made, I've loved wearing because they just sit around your neck, they don't fall off, they don't undo, the ends don't trail in your drink, you know, I really, really like it. And it isn't bulky around the back of your neck, which I really like. So I decided that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a sort of shawlette type cowl. So I also wanted it to be sort of a more rounded shape rather than the point that you get in a lot of shawlettes, because they're just triangular, like the refraction one I had. I wanted it to be more scooped, gently scooped, but I also wanted it to be sort of scalloped, gently scalloped, just have the kind of the effect of the waves. So I decided to look through one of my stitch dictionaries, and I found a fantastic stitch pattern, and I used some handspun yarn because, as you know, I'm trying to use more handspun yarn. And what I did was I designed this. Now, I don't know how well you can see it against the blue top, actually, thinking about it. Anyway, this was my first attempt, and I really like it. It's nice. It's really warm because it's made from fondant fibre malachite ponies, and I think it's got Shetland and merino in it, and it's very, very warm. It's quite soft. It's not, I probably wouldn't give it to a kid because they'd be like, but I'm quite happy with it. It's just got a little bit of a prickle factor, and it sits nicely. But I decided that I wasn't quite happy with where the sort of scallopy bits sat. So I decided I wanted to kind of shift everything round, kind of half a repeat. And I also decided that I would really like to add some little picots. I think I just finished something with picots on. I really enjoyed doing them. So I decided that was what I was going to do. So I readjusted the design, did a little bit of maths, did a little bit of shifting around, and I came up with my finished cowl, which I absolutely love. Really, really love this. But I don't know if I can. I don't want to. No, I'm not gonna mess around with that. I'm really, really pleased with it. The yarn is gorgeous. It's one of my favourite bases that Lindsay does. It's Lord Kitchener 4-ply, which is, I think it's, bear with me, I shall double check. Or I would if my iPad was going to play ball. Yeah, it's 55% Blueface Leicester and 45% silk. It is smooth, it is drapey, it is robust. It's a fantastic base. Absolutely, it's like the perfect shawlette base as far as I'm concerned. And it just feels so decadent around your neck. And this colourway is called A Fugitive from the Sea, and it was from the Odyssey selection. I think it might have been, was it March? Yes, it was in March. It was March's update. Let me see if I can show you a bit better. So this is based around doing a half circle shawl. So essentially what you're doing is you're taking the pie theory, starting at the top, and you double the stitches and then you knit a row, and then you double the stitches, and then you knit 2 rows, and then you double the stitches and you knit 4 rows. And it basically, the distance between the doubling of the rows increases. It doubles each time the space that comes between them. So essentially that first section all the way down to here is just plain stocking stitch, as though you were making a half circle shawl. And then you get to this bit, and I decided that I wanted to, let me see if I can show you it doesn't show very well on that one actually. Let me show you in the sort of uniform colourway. You can see it, there we go, that's a bit better, isn't it? Basically it's like wave shapes with garter ridges in between. It's hard to see. You see sort of the general shape on that, and you see the shape a lot better on that one. And I think the picots was the right thing to do. I think it gives it that finished look. And I've got my scallops, and the way it sits is the scallops sort of, if I was wearing a V-neck top, the longest scallop at the front would fill that V, if you see what I mean. And I just like the way it sits more this way round. So could not be happier with this, except for one thing. Really wish it was longer, wish it was bigger. Now the thing with doing this sort of thing is, oops, it's because it's based on the stitch count. The pattern is based on the stitch count, and if you add more depth to this first bit, then it's going to throw the stitch count out. If you add another repeat of the lace bit, it's going to throw the circular bit out. You need to add more stuff, add another row of stitches. And I just thought the easiest way of doing it was probably to size it up using gauge. And so what I decided to do was to use this beautiful yarn that I got in my golden skein package, the one that I won, that I showed you in the last episode. And it's from Cedar Garden, and it's Cedar Queerleg, and it's the butterfly colourway. And I just basically went up a needle size, and it covers the whole of the top of my torso, covers my shoulders, the back of my neck. It feels amazing. It's pure silk, and it just feels incredible next to the skin, and it's surprisingly warm. Couldn't believe how warm it was. But it'd be fantastic sort of over a summer dress. Sort of go out in the evening with a sort of strappy top on, and it gets a bit cooler. You can have this in your bag and just sling it over the top, and it just keeps your shoulders warm and cover that part of your chest that was sort of exposed in order to cool down. And I'm so delighted with this one. It's a looser gauge, but it doesn't look ridiculous because it's lace. This is a much denser lace, and I like it. It's warmer. It's much warmer. It's got the wool content, so it's denser, and I think that works. But I also think because this is silk, having it a much looser drapier gauge also works. So I think what I've decided to do with the pattern is just talk about sizing and the gauge and what you can expect to get from whatever size that you use. And that's one of the things I'm asking my testers to look at. And I love the way this stitch pattern shows off variegated yarns, especially this. I mean, it looks like waves, doesn't it? You can see the waves in it in this colourway. The way it sort of dances. I just think it's beautiful. If there was this yarn was done in a blue green, it would look exactly like the Mediterranean around the islands of Greece. So yeah, I'll show you the back and show you the back before. Essentially, you do the way it's done is you do all of this stocking stitch section, do the last sort of round of increases, and then you just join at the back, and then just do the rest straight down, and that's how you get that shape. It has to be of sufficient depth for it when it joins together to go over your head, and that's what the measurement is. The most important measurement really for this sort of style of thing is because the depth equals the circumference, if you see what I mean, because it's based on a circular theory. Does that make sense? Probably not. It's designed to make a circle. It's the pi theory, that sort of doubling of stitches over a double distance between each of the rows. So essentially the depth at the front also equals just about the distance around. In this instance, I needed to get more stitches on in order to get the stitch count right. So what I did was I did a few rows where I increased at the back, increased the number of stitches, just doing plain stocking stitch but adding some stitches in here just to give it that extra depth for going around the neck. So yeah, I'm really happy with all three cowls. I'm really happy. The pattern's called Boat Trip, and as soon as I have a finished pattern and it's launched, I'll let you know. It's been really good working on doing patterns again. I've not done any in quite a while because my brain hasn't really been there, and I'd forgotten how much work it is. I mean, I don't do pattern writing in order to make money. I do it to exercise my brain. I find it good discipline to do the work. The designing thing, I could have made these 3 shawls and it would have taken me about a quarter of the time it did to design it and write the pattern. That's the thing. If you're just making notes for yourself, you can just scribble sort of a shorthand that you can understand. You're not writing it out in full for anybody to understand. It's a very different skill set, and I enjoy that. I've always enjoyed, in my previous existence, I wrote 2 or 3 training manuals, and I really enjoyed doing it. It's something I enjoy teaching and training other people and things. I've always enjoyed it. So it feels a bit like that. It's kind of like a knitting training manual. So yeah, it's been good fun, and I've forgotten how complicated running a big test is. I just didn't have the heart to turn half the people away who asked to test it. So I've got 8 testers, which is a bit excessive, and it tends to mean an awful lot more work because you get a lot more questions. However, it does knock a lot of the problems out, you know, because you've got a bigger pool of people looking at it. You've got a wider range of experiences. So you tend to pick up things that could be written clearer if you've got a larger pool. However, it's more work. So I'd forgotten that bit. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's also a really good way of getting to know people when you're testing, if they're testing for you or you're testing for them, because you're communicating quite a lot. And one of the ladies, Chris, who's joined in, was somebody that tested my Lily's Slice of Pie shawl, and that was quite a few years ago. And that was the first test knit she'd ever done, and since then she's done dozens. She's an addict. So of course I had to invite her to come and join in, but everyone else just got in touch after seeing it on Instagram, which was good. Few people I know, few people I don't know, and I think that works well. I think it gives you a good coverage of the sorts of people who are looking at it, which is very, very good. Okay, that is it for done and dusted. So I think what we need to do is move on to Nurse the Grindstone. One thing, that's all I have worked on since I finished the incentive. One thing. I've become obsessed with just one thing at a time. Just seems recently, the last few things I've just wanted to work on and focus on one thing. I think it's because I've not been feeling too great, sort of this cold thing. So this project is new since I spoke to you last. And it is The Exploration Station by Stephen West. Now, this was originally a mystery knit-along, and I have a problem with signing up for mysteries. I like to know what I'm going to be making. However, I do like the way mystery patterns are written. I like the way they're done in sections, and each section has got to be interesting in its own right. And I really enjoy the way they're written. I just like to wait until all the clues have come out so I can see whether I want to knit it or not. And Stephen West is so innovative. I mean, he's so clever, and sometimes his designs are a little bit out there for me. You know, being an old fogey like myself, I like things to be, you know, kind of classic. I'm not really into the high fashion world of Stephen West. Neon isn't me. But I am loving this pattern. I am obsessed. It's fantastic. It's so much fun. Don't you just love those short row swoops at the top? They're fabulous. The short rows with these double yarn over increases, where the short rows are done. Let me show you. Can you see the double yarn over holes? That is the same technique as is used in the dotted rays shawl that I made. And it's great. It's a great way of making short rows sort of decorative as well as for shaping. I really like it. I think it works. It's a really nice technique. The other thing that was used in the dotted ray shawl that I really like and will probably use myself in designs is the I-cord edging. I really, really like that. Let's see if I can show you. It just, I mean, you have to be careful to make it as elastic as possible so it doesn't pull it round too much around your neck and sort of cut off circulation, if you see what I mean, if you tie it too tight. It's obviously got an awful lot less give than a garter edge, but I really like it. I think it's nice and smooth. It's a nice technique. It's much neater, I think, than a garter edge. So many ends. Look at all the ends. All the ends, so many. That's going to be fun to do up. So the first section are all these short row swoops, which is fabulous. I love, love, love these colours. So happy with them. The yarn is Kettle Yarn Company, and let me see, didn't think this through before. Kettle Yarn Company, and the yarn is Twist, which is 100% superwash blue face Leicester, which, as you know, I really like. Now, I actually bought 2 of the colourways at Fibre East last year. I bought these 2 to go together. Let me see if I can get, that's about right. This is a one-of-a-kind colourway. I think it was malachite. I may be wrong. This is hematite, and I love it. It's kind of a a browny grey charcoal colour. It's fabulous. It's really rich and deep. There's definite brown tones to the grey. It's lovely. It's really, really interesting. So those two I bought at Fibre East. I did the Pebble Beach shawl, and I did that in I think it was West Kensington, which is the Blueface Leicester silk base, and I used the colour Old Smoke, and I just fell in love with it. It's a perfect neutral as far as I'm concerned. It's a really, really lovely colour. So I decided I was going to buy a skein of Old Smoke, but this yarn is quite interesting because it comes in sort of two skein sizes. Some of them are done as 100-gram skeins, which is the twist jumbo, and some of them come in 50-gram skeins, which is just the regular twist. So I bought this just to make into just a regular shawl or something, just one on its own. And Linda very kindly popped a freebie in the post, which is the Glacier colourway. It's kind of a really cool sea glass green colour. It's very pretty. And that was a 50-gram skein. And when I saw the Exploration Station, I saw it on Milky Robot podcast and also Mando Bug Crafts podcast. And they were both doing it and raving about the pattern and how much they were enjoying it, and totally get why they were doing that now. And I looked in my stash to see if I had the right sort, if I had a combination of yarns I could use to make the Exploration Station. And it just worked out perfectly in terms of yardage to be able to use all of these colours together in the same base. And it was just great that it worked out that way, because I love the way it's working. The colours go fantastically well together, and because it's Blueface Leicester, I think it's going to be pretty sturdy, which is good for a shawl, because quite often I knit shawls in beautiful yarns, beautiful lace, and they're really hard to wear for every day because they pill, they snag, and sort of more and more I'm looking at doing bigger shawls in 4-ply because it makes them more robust than doing it in lace weight. So that was kind of the reason I got the two skeins in contrasting colours at Fibre East last year, was I wanted to do some of those nice 2-colour shawls. I'm really glad this is a 4-colour shawl. So this first section zoomed along quite nicely, and then we got to Clue 2. Now Clue 2 is brioche. I've never done brioche before. It's one of those things that I wanted to do for ages. It's actually easier to see on the wrong side. It's a 2-colour brioche, and I love it. I really enjoyed doing it. I've actually got a craftsy class on brioche that I'm waiting to get around to doing, and now I've done this section, I must watch that because I really did enjoy it, and I think it's a really interesting design tool. The fact that you can get sort of vertical stripes, I really like that. It's an unusual technique, and it gives this real sort of smooshy depth to it. I think it'd be so warm and lovely. So raced through that, obviously, because I was enjoying it so much. And I have to say, this is a good way to learn if you like brioche or not, because it's not overwhelmingly huge, the section, but it's enough that you'd have a good idea whether you liked it or not. And there are videos, there are links in the pattern PDF to take you to his tutorial videos for each of the sections, each of the clues. So even if you've never done brioche before and you don't understand his written directions, you just watch his video and you know what you're doing. So it's pretty good in that respect. So after the brioche section, this really interesting 2-colour section, which involves some slip stitching and all the rest of it. I just really love it. It's like a little checkered checkerboard. So I've not done that stitch before and I really enjoyed that. I think it looks great and it was fun to do. And now I'm on to the fourth section, which is this kind of garter stitch striping at the bottom. And that's quite, it's not as straightforward as it looks. You knit 2 right sides and then 2 wrong side rows using the 2 different colours. It's quite interesting. And I really like how it makes this kind of ridged effect. It's kind of like double garter stitch. It's interesting. Like I say, he's incredibly talented, Stephen West. He has some brilliant ideas and loving doing this so much. And it's going to be a really good size shawl. I mean, look at how deep that is. Can't really show you how deep that is. It's, you know, it's going to be a decent sized shawl when it's finished. And I can't stop knitting it. I cannot stop knitting it. I don't want to knit anything else. I've been obsessed with it since I cast it on. I think it's mainly to do with the design. The design is fantastic, but I love the yarn. The yarn is fantastic. It's kind of got a buttery, soft smoothness to it, but it's got tons and tons of bounce. It's tightly plied 2-ply yarn, and it's got tons and tons of bounce in it. I really like it, and I know I will buy more of this yarn because it's good yarn. I really like Kettle Yarn Co. Sorry about that. Somebody's trying to sell me windows and doors. I was saying I really like Kettle Yarn Co. The bases are well thought out. They try to be as British as possible and as hard wearing but luxurious as possible. So I really like the sort of the ethos behind it, and also the colourways are lovely. Linda mainly specialises in semi-solids. There are a few skeins that are usually one of a kind, which have very, very subtle variegation in it, like almost blink and you'd miss it. But Linda seems to mainly specialise in the semi-solids. So if you're looking in Europe, principally, I would imagine, for good quality semi-solid coloured yarn, it's good stuff. It's lovely to knit with. It's holding up really well. That Pebble Beach is holding up exceptionally well considering how much it gets worn. Yeah, it's good stuff. I really like it. I didn't buy any until I went to Fibre East, and then I bought 3 or 4 skeins of the stuff. Really liked it, and since I've knit with it now, this is the second project I've knit with it, different bases, and really enjoying both. I really enjoyed both. So yeah, do recommend Kettle Yarn Co. Go and have a look at Linda's stuff. It's good. It's very good. This exploration station actually is in a new bag. Isn't it fabulous? It's got tents and caravans and campfires, the mountains. Isn't it great? That's from Fondant Fibre. And I love how generous her bag sizes are. This is the medium, believe it or not. And there is 350 grams of yarn in there. And there's quite a lot of room left. There's quite a lot of space at the top still. Could get another skein in there quite easily. In fact, one of this size bags is what I had my cardigan, Mama Vertebrae cardigan. That was 500 grams of worsted weight. It's good amount in. It's basically this size of bag. It's a very, very good bag, and I love that fabric because I used to go camping a lot as a kid. In fact, as an adult as well, just not done it in a few years. Anyway, that is it for Nose to the Grindstone. That's all I'm working on obsessively, which means it'll probably be finished by the next time I record. Right, I have some splashed out, and it kind of blurs into plotting, obviously, because I like to buy things with stuff in mind these days. Excuse me while I reach. The first thing that I bought was something I've wanted to get for a while. It's from the Island Wool Company, and they're based on the Faroe Islands. And the yarn that they sell is quite interesting. This one is I think it's pronounced Snailden or Schneelden. And it's in several different weights. And what I got was the 2-ply, which I thought was a 4-ply yarn. That's what they say it is. But on Ravelry it says it's a sport weight. So I think it's probably going to fluff up quite a lot when it's knit. And Snailden yarn is a blend of Faroese yarn fibre and Falkland Island fibre. Falkland Island fibre is, I think they say it's about 7/8 merino. It's basically from a location rather than from a breed. Most of the sheep on the Falkland Islands are from merino and Polworth stock. So it's quite a soft yarn. It's not as soft as pure merino, but it is soft. And so they blended those two fibres together to get this really interesting yarn. So I bought, there was a voucher somebody posted on one of the British Ravelry groups, and it was quite a reasonable amount off, and I took the opportunity to try this yarn because I wanted to try it since Sarah from Fibre Trek knit her the shawl. Our brain, it's gone. To apologise. Basically, the knit along shawl that she made, that I made one of, she used this yarn, and she said it was fantastic. And I think I'm going to agree with her. I think it's going to be really interesting. So I bought 3 colours. It's charcoal, cloud, and turf. Isn't it fabulous? I'll probably show you better what the yarn looks like. I love it. It's fabulous. It's got real depth to it. It doesn't feel, the colours don't feel flat. I think these are natural ones. And it's done where the natural ones are in 100-gram skeins and the colour are done in 50-gram skeins, which I think is a really good way of doing it, because if you're doing colour work, you might want to add accents, or you might only need 50-gram skein, 2 different colours to work the same section doing colour work. And this is really interesting. It's softer than Shetland. It's more spongy and bouncy than Shetland. Obviously because of the Falkland fibre. But it's got the strength of the Faroese yarn, the sturdiness. But it's hard to describe. It's very hard to describe how it feels. And that's before it's been knit and blocked. I think once it's been knit and blocked, I'll have a better idea of how it feels, and I'll be able to give you a better idea. But it was very reasonable indeed. And I can imagine, you could get a sweater's worth for a reasonable amount of money. It wouldn't bankrupt you, just make you a bit skint for a while. But yeah, I think it's going to be fabulous. I bought it to make a Quicksilver shawl by Melanie Berg, which is a shawl that I've wanted to make for a while. Let me see if I can find a picture for you. Do you know what? The link is in the show notes. I am really sorry about that. Excuse me. I'll try and cut that. Probably won't, but I'll try. But it's a 3-coloured shawl. I think it's knit on the bias, and it's got short rows, and it's got stripes, and it's got mesh sections, and it's a big swoopy shawl, and it's one I've wanted to knit for a long time. So sort of seeing the opportunity of getting a discounted yarn that I was interested in, and then the fact I can match it up with a shawl I really wanted to knit, it had to be done. Plus it was my birthday when I ordered it. And the other birthday treat, this was a big birthday treat. Ba, ba, ba. Where is the colour? That's the colour. This is a yarn baby. It is huge. It is 300 grams of Wollmeister lace yarn, which is 100% superwash wool. It is soft, it is squishy, it is lovely. It's like a heavy lace weight. It's sort of more like a 3-ply than a 2-ply. It's very plump and round, and you get in this 300-gram skein, you get, I think it's about 1,500 meters or 1,700 yards. It's a lot. And I used to wear this colour an awful lot when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I used to wear it an awful lot, and I just stopped wearing it for some reason. It's a great colour. I love it. I don't know if it's going to suit my older skin, but I just think it's a fabulous colour. And I don't know what I'm going to make with it. I have no clue. All I knew was I want it to be a garment. I want it to be either a cardigan or a sweater, like a tee type sweater, because it's nice and light, a sort of a swingy tunic type thing to wear in the summer, or a very lightweight cardigan to wear in the summer. Yes, it's expensive, but then you get 300 grams of yarn. You get an awful lot of yardage. I think it costs about 48 euros including post. So it's a big, big gift to myself, this. The colourway I'd not seen before is 29 CU, which I think is the periodic, there we go, periodic table for copper, name for copper, which I think is very appropriate. I think it's kind of a lovely deep gingery colour, and I'm very, very excited to knit this. I'm just waiting for the right pattern to come along. The more I see of Megan Williams from the Stockinette Zombies Heater Food Days, the more I think I want to knit one of those, or something like that, you know, sort of lacy, swingy, light, that sort of thing. So yeah, that was a big treat to myself. I couldn't believe it when I saw that in the shop on the day after my birthday, and I looked at it and went, oh, that's beautiful. That's such a nice colour. And I went and I clicked buy now, and it had gone. It disappeared. And I went away and had a look and sort of thought about, you know, maybe getting the same colourway in the pure or the twin. And I thought, I really would like to buy myself a skein of lace yarn for my birthday. And I went back, and it had come out of somebody's basket. They'd obviously changed their mind. So I swooped in and got it. So I was very excited about that. Felt it was a sign. It was meant to be mine. The other things I have are from Fondant Fibre. Fondant Fibre has always been fantastic at doing fibre, essentially. She does amazing preparation, great colours, and absolutely love spinning her fibre. She recently started to dye yarn. In the last year, she started to dye yarn as well. And she recently got this new base that I really thought I would like to try. And it is called Hardy High Twist. It's an 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. and it's 4-ply and it's 365 meters for 100 grams. And I bought this one first. It's called Shield Maiden Wannabe. I don't know, it's really hard to get the colour right. I can see what it looks like on my. It's very, very tough. That's about right. It's a little bit brighter than that, but it's lovely. It's got these amazing sort of purple, ready purpley plum colours, but it's also got pops of orange and terracotta and light pink and brown and green, and it's just got so many colours in it. It's absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't resist it. So I bought that skein, and when I got it in my hands, I was like, this is fabulous. This is going to be a really good yarn to use. I love high twist yarns. They just have this amazing plumpness to them. So I bought that in one update, and a couple of weeks later I saw the same base in this yarn, which is this colourway. It's called Gunpowder, and I saw Deb knitting it up into something on Instagram, and I thought, oh, that's a fantastic colourway. It's brilliant. It's this lovely pale grey with pops of black and dark grey. Really, really interesting, really good neutral. It knits up beautifully. So I went to have a look and pick it up, and I'd forgotten that I'd got this purple. I actually think they go quite well together. I think they'd be a really interesting 2-colour shawl. I think that could work really well. But I'm a big fan of the grey neutrals, as you know. So yeah, those are hardy high twist, and they're fantastically soft and squishy. And I'll tell you what they feel like to knit up when I get around to it. But while I was there, I saw this new range of fibre that Deb is doing, and it's called Harlequin. And I fell in love with this. It's called Bone. It's a lovely, lovely sort of smoky browny grey neutral. And it is made with Shetland, merino and bamboo. And it's just fabulous. It feels so soft and fluffy. Soft and fluffy. And I can't wait to spin that. I don't know how I'm going to spin it, but I want to. But essentially this range Harlequin is this blend, but in lots of different colours. And when Deb sent me my yarn and my fibre, she put in the parcel something for you. And it's the full range of Harlequin, which is 6 different colours. Oh, fabulous. I'm not going to open it because I'll end up fluffing it. But can you see how amazing those colours are? I am so tempted to get one of these myself, because they're, you know, it's 150 grams, the whole parcel, so you get a decent amount in each sort of little bump of colour. But that is going to be a giveaway when I do our next knit along, or sorry, say craft along, for one of the spinning prizes, because I just wanted to show you it now. I wouldn't normally show you prizes for the future, but I just wanted to show you the different colours that the Harlequin came in, because I think the different colours look very different from the Bone. I just think I thought it was really interesting, and you'd really like to see it. But Deb is so generous to the podcast, and she's constantly giving stuff to give away. And it looks like a really, really interesting new product. And I just thought I'd share it with you now, rather than waiting until it's a prize in the next sort of craft along we do. Because I think it's a really, really interesting product. And I think it'd be fantastic to get one of those little kits. But yeah, that's the Bone. It's so pretty. Love it. And that is it for Splashed Out. So where are we? Kind of want to wrap it up soon. What I wanted to share with you first of all is under the heading online community. One of the people I've got to know reasonably well over the last month or so is Mina from a Knitting Expat podcast. I did a test knit for her, and she's testing Boat Trip. And she is based out in Bahrain, but she's from the UK. And she said when she was coming back to the UK, she would really like to do a swap. And we decided to sort of do a swap based around trading skills. So Mina doesn't spin, so I offered to spin her some fibre, and she offered to make me a project bag. And I love my project bag. Look how pretty it is. It's a little bit pinker redder than that you can see. It's like I said, everything's kind of blued out a bit, but it's so pretty. It's fantastic texture. It's definite. Feels like lawn, if you know anything about fabrics. It's like a very fine cotton that's very soft and drapey. And I know she got this fabric in Bahrain. It's really interesting. It's a bit different because it's got an invisible zipper, but it's a bright coloured invisible zipper. And inside, contrast fabric is gorgeous. Love this blue. And again, that feels very much like a lawn, a very good quality cotton. And it's been interfaced. I think both the inside and the outside have been interfaced. The zip has been put in absolutely beautifully. It's got a fabulous handle on it, wrist handle, which I love. And also in my little parcel came a little extra, which was for my birthday. Isn't it cute? Little notions pouch. Look at the spots. I love spots, especially in linings. But it's so pretty. It's a good size. You can see, sort of, it's a good size. It's got again another invisible zipper, and it really made me laugh actually, because both Mina and I said we don't sort of drink tea and stuff, but we're both like stationery addicts, and we sent each other almost exactly the same type of things. Like I sent her a little notebook and some pens and some little stickies, sort of label stickies and things like that. And she sent me a big batch of colour pens. These are really nice actually. They're sort of triangular and they're like gel, ink, rollerball type thing in different colours, which is great fun for designing. Also for colouring books. Have you seen those adult colouring books? They're fantastic. So much fun to play with. And she got me these really, really cute little post-it stickers. Really, really cute. Got little sort of indicators. And what else did she get? She got me this great little notebook actually. I really like it. It's a really lovely colour. And it's unlined and it's got a little marker tab and it's got an elastic band to keep it snug, and I really like that. It's a good size. It's a perfect notebook to slip in a project bag or something when you're writing notes. And she gave me a big paper clip, which is also used when you're doing design work, trying to keep open the pages on a pattern stitch dictionary. Very useful for that. And she did me a really, really cute little stitch marker. There we go. Little sheepy. And Mina has decided that she's going to set up an Etsy shop when she gets back from the UK to sell her bags and her stitch markers and things. And she is going to be called on Etsy Mina Makes. Let's see if I can. There we go. And it's www.minamakes.etsy.com. And there's a link in the show notes to that. So yeah, it's a really cute little stitch mark. It's one of those ones with the lockable stitch markers, the lobster claw, which are very useful for counting rows when you're doing after so many rows increase in your work, and also saying, look, this is where I got to in my last podcast. And we also did a yarn swap. I sent Mina some fabric, some fat quarters, because I used to do a lot of sewing. And in the last couple of years, it's been very difficult to sit upright at the table to do sewing. So it's something that I desperately miss, and I do really want to get back to it. But I've got a reasonable fabric stash. I've got, a couple of big boxes full of fabric, fat quarters, that are just sitting not being used. So I said I'd send her some of my fat quarters. It was so much fun pulling out fat quarters and finding fabrics that work together. So I sort of got a set of fat quarters and sent her those. But she said she was asked me if I was interested in getting some sort of bamboo cotton yarns from Bahrain, because obviously that's mainly what you can get out there. And I said, yeah, that'd be great. And it's quite interesting because the yarn she sent, the manufacturer is Elise. Now, when I was in Turkey a few years ago, I stumbled over a yarn shop. I wasn't looking for it, and it was a really cheap as chips yarn shop, full of acrylic, absolutely stuffed to the gunnels, but it had some cotton, and the cotton was Elise, and the cotton was beautiful. It was lovely colours. It was really smooth and soft, and I bought, it was variegated in kind of blues and greens, and I bought enough to crochet myself a wrap when I got home, and I've still got that wrap, and I still really love it. And I've just not seen Elise in the UK. I'm sure I could probably get it if I really wanted to, but it's not something we see an awful lot of in our shops. And she got me, this is 100% mercerized cotton, and it is 100 grams, and it's 260 meters. So that is probably a sport weight? I don't know, not looked it up. And the other one she got me is Elise Bamboo Fine. Let me see. Oh gosh. Is it going to focus on me? Yay, there we go. And this is the most delicious greys. It's really beautiful. Sort of like, and it feels so soft and smooth. It's gorgeous. That's pretty. A little shawl on the side there. Is it going to focus? Probably not. You get the general drift anyway. And this is 100 grams, and it's 440 meters. So that's probably like a 3-ply weight, I'd say. Heavy lace, maybe verging on the 4-ply, but it's so soft. That would be just such an amazing sort of cowly, scarfy thing. I have no idea what I'm going to make with both of those, but they're beautiful, so lovely, and it's so nice to get something that you just don't see here. So I think I did pretty well out of that swap, especially as I got a box of Maltesers, which has gone. Vanished straight in my tummy. Not all at once, admittedly, but do have a weakness for Maltesers. So I really enjoyed doing the swap because it was a direct swap. I was doing it with somebody I already knew pretty well from podcasting and chatting and things. So I kind of knew the sort of person she was and some of the things that she liked that she'd mentioned in the podcast. And she obviously did the same with me. And I do love a good project bag. And this is a fantastic project bag. It's really nicely made. It's really sort of well constructed. All the seams are really neat. It's a really, really well made bag. You know, if I'd made that, I'd be delighted with it. and the fabric's so unusual as well. You just don't get that sort of thing here. So yeah, it was great fun. I really enjoyed doing the swap, and I think I'd probably consider doing direct swaps again. I'd not done any before. I'd only done sort of swaps that had been done across a big group of people, kind of like a round robin type thing. And this is nicer because you feel like it's like you're putting together a present for a friend, because you already know them from chatting and stuff online, and it's lovely because you think, oh yes, I know they like this, I'll pop that in, and things like that. It was nice, and I really enjoyed it, and I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed doing swaps, putting together a parcel. I love doing that, and I always forget that I'm going to get a parcel back because I enjoy doing the putting it together so much, and then I send it off and think, oh, that's over now, I've done that, and I think, oh, someone's sending me a parcel. And then it's lovely because it's like Christmas. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed doing it, and I was really pleased that Mina suggested it. So thank you, Mina. I like my things a lot. And I think I'm going to call that quits. Thank you for spending time with me. I apologise for the doorbell ringing in the middle. Hopefully I can cut most of that out. Yeah, it's been nice to chat and catch up a bit, and hopefully from now on my computer will stop being an idiot. And think we might talk about doing a craft along in the next episode. I've got some ideas rattling around, and have a little chat with you about them, see if you like the ideas. But because I wanted to talk about the pattern and sort of how the ideas develop and stuff like that, I thought it'd be a bit interesting to focus a bit more on that this week. And hopefully in the next episode it'll be a bit more like a normal one. So thank you for bearing with me while I wittered on about my pattern. Hope you found it interesting, and hopefully it won't be too long till I speak to you again. Thanks for spending time with me, and take care. Bye.